everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for stopping by. My people, what is exactly happening in Nigeria? Like, what is happening in Nigeria? Why is it that there's no each day that we will not hear ugly news in Nigeria? Yesterday, almost 300 school children were adopted in Kaduna State by bandits. Hey, and right now, federal government don't even know their whereabouts, whether these children they are alive or not. And before this incident, our Senate President AKPABIO said that since Tinubu entered into office, that insecurity has reduced. This is so shameful. Like, where is this man getting all this information? Is he really living in Nigeria, or he's just trying to gaslight Nigerians? So right now, they say that they are deploying army, they are deploying policemen, blah, 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 this and this. Is this not medicine after death? Where we are there when this thing was happening. Like almost 300 children. Because this operation will definitely take a long time before they'll complete it. Where we are there, my people. And now they are deploying army, doing this, doing that. Knowing very well that all these states are proto-bandits. Can't they deploy all this army before all this ugly news starts happening? What is Nigeria turning into, my people? What is happening in the security system in Nigeria? This is what P2B is always saying, that if you can pull people out of poverty, that is going to reduce insecurity. And now, Nigerians are facing this hunger crisis. Crime is going to increase, definitely. Because if a man sees his family that have not even eaten since 2 days, 3 days, what do you think that that man is going to do? My people, like if time is not taken, Nigeria will keep sinking. Now, if you talk about the people will say, hey, you are causing your country, this and that. Why not keep praying for Nigeria? Hey, pray for. Because the way we are seeing Nigeria right now is really sinking. Yes, let's just say the truth. Nigeria is really, really sinking. Because the level of insecurity is going high every day by day. And your so-called leaders are not doing absolutely nothing about it. Let me just allow you guys so that you can hear what Arise team said about this matter, so that you can get this gist in detail. And I will be right back.
Please help us. We beg you in the name of God. Where is our president? Where is our governor? Please don't let them take them away from us. Please follow them to the forest and rescue our loved ones. In some families, 7 members were kidnapped. Another 5 were taken.
After receiving reports of a bandit attack on a primary and secondary school in Kaduna, Governor Obasanjo led a delegation to Kuriga village in Chikun local government to get first-hand information of the incident. Narrating the tragic incident to the governor, a teacher in the school says at GSS Kuriga, 187 students are presently missing, while in the primary school, 125 pupils were initially missing, but 25 returned home.
I resumed to the school today at exactly 7:47 a.m. I entered the acting principal's office and signed. All of a sudden, the acting principal asked me to look at my back, and when I turned, we discovered that bandits had surrounded the school premises. We became confused. We didn't know where to go. Then bandits asked us to enter the bush. We obeyed them. Because there were many and the pupils were about 700 were following us. So when we entered the bush, I was lucky to escape alongside many other people. So I returned to the village and reported what happened to the community. Immediately, our vigilante and personnel of Kadvis followed the bandits, but the vigilante did not succeed. In fact, the bandit killed one of the vigilantes. We just buried him a while ago. It was when we came back from that pursuit that we briefed the village head and we started making efforts to know the actual number of pupils and teachers that were taken by bandits. At GSS Kuriga, 187 students are presently missing. In the primary school, 125 pupils were initially missing, but 25 of them escaped and returned home.
An emotional chief of Kuriga town laments the insecurity in the area and appeals to the governor to assist in the deployment of troops to secure lives and property. While addressing the community, Governor Obasani sympathized with the parents and families of the abducted students, although he says the figures of those abducted is still sketchy. However, he is working tirelessly to ensure that those abducted regain their freedom unhurt.
We have not been able to know the number of the children or the students that have been kidnapped. But what I can say here is that by the grace of God, under my able leadership, we will try as much as possible to ensure that every child return by the grace of God, inshallah. We are doing our best. I'm going to work with the community leaders. I want to work with the traditional rulers here, as well as the youth, to ensure that every child return back home by the grace of God.
To the kidnappings in Kaduna State, where terrorists stormed the government secondary school in Chinku local government area of the state on Thursday morning. According to a teacher in the school who narrowly escaped, at least 280 students were kidnapped. The governor of the state, Ubasani, has assured the people of the state that he will do everything within his powers to ensure the safe return of the abducted students.
What I can say here is that by the grace of God, under my able leadership, we will try as much as possible to ensure that every child return by the grace of God, inshallah. We are doing our best. I'm going to work with the community leaders. I want to work with the traditional rulers here, as well as the youth, to ensure that every child return back home by the grace of God.
Well, all right. It's good to see that the governor, reacted, swiftly by going to the school and also, address the people of Kaduna State. But this is quite absurd at this moment. I mean, the call for state police cannot even be more louder at this point. I believe I spoke to some people at the government house, and they talked about the fact that about 57 children escaped. 57. I just spoke to somebody early this morning in government house. About 57 of them have come back, or they escaped from that incident. But I mean, it really boils down to securing our school system. Yeah. I heard you earlier this morning what has been done. I mean, 280 of them were kidnapped in broad daylight, early morning. And it's not just in Kaduna State this is happening. It's been happening in different parts of Nigeria, different states in the north. Let me take a tweet, if you can pull up that tweet. Well, this person is from Isa Mubarak, who wrote, 200 abducted in Borno, 280 school children abducted in Kaduna. 20-plus university students were abducted in Zamfara 7 months ago. These are the ones that made it to the news. Only God knows what happens in those remote villages. And that's the pertinent question there. These are the ones that have been reported.
Yes.
What are the security agencies doing at this point? Well, in the meantime, the president of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, just a day before the kidnappings, said that the insecurity level in the country has reduced drastically since President Bola Ahmed Tinubu took office on May 29, 2023. Akpabio made the statement while contributing to a debate on a motion regarding the recent killings in Benue State. He noted that while the latest attack was an aberration, there was a recorded decrease in the frequency of major killings across the country.
I've not heard any comment from the government of Benue State. If 50 people are killed, or more than 50, and communities are being attacked, we will expect that the governor will either cry out or marshal out plans with the immediate security operatives within the Benue State to see what he can do before we start bringing the issue to the president. And I want to also assure you that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, though he has not stayed long in office, is very concerned and supportive of the armed forces. And by the time the Senate meets with him, in conjunction with the House of Representatives, I believe that the resolutions that will come out with will benefit the entire country. It's a fact that, yes, since his assumption of duties, insecurity has abated. Major attacks are no longer taking place, but this one is just an aberration, and it will be brought to an end.
Seeing the Senate president here again, I mean, you know, I don't know, speaking out of context, I don't know where he's getting his information from. Insecurity has reduced. Dr. Abati.
Okay. Well, when the Senate president says insecurity has reduced, this is what government people say, government spokespersons. That's the claim that they made. Didn't we hear the same thing under the Buhari administration? Now the Tinubu administration is also towing the same line, just to reassure the people. But I doubt if the Senate president can say this openly on the streets of Plateau State.
Nope.
All those local governments in Plateau State where houses have been attacked, you know, repeatedly 2-3 times. I doubt if he can say that on the streets of Benue State, that insecurity has reduced. I doubt if he can go to Chinkun local government or Kachia local government of Kaduna State and tell the people and say insecurity has reduced. Now, if we take insecurity in an expanded sense, because insecurity doesn't only refer to your physical security, you know, the threat to you physically. Food insecurity that we have been talking about, has food insecurity reduced? And the Senate president says, what has happened in Benue is an aberration. Is it an aberration? What Nigerians have realized is that they are not safe at home.
No.
They are not safe on the streets. In fact, their stomach is no longer safe. Demons of hunger are threatening, you know, their stomachs, right, because government has not been able to provide food for them. However, the only part of the Senate president's submission is that he says, well, the Senate would approach President Tinubu and work together with the president to see how plans can be worked out to make Nigeria a much safer place. That is what we want to hear.
Yeah.
But we don't just want to hear promises, okay, about or giving us hope, assuring us that things that have reduced, that have not reduced, have reduced. The people just want results.
Yes.
It's almost 1 year when we are hoping that President Tinubu will give his own State of the Union address. He cannot come on May 29 and still be telling us to be patient and that he's promising and he's giving us hope. No, hope is not enough to address the demons of our stomachs.
Wow, demons of our stomach. I'd like to go on both stories, really, just to juxtapose the fact that, you know, there were those kidnappings in Kaduna State and the president of the Senate saying insecurity has reduced.
So, following the spate of insecurity and kidnapping of children in schools,
yes,
there was a coalition between government and the private sector, and with funding from the support funding from the United Nations to set up what is called the Safe School Initiative. And with that happening, the UN Envoy on Education, Special Envoy on Education, Gordon Brown, had mentioned and launched the $10 billion fund with promised counter-funding from the private sector. Since then, did you see the state of the school?
Yes, there was.
It was open. It didn't look like a school. This is the kind of place that we are sending our children to go to, in a place where there are heightened concerns around security. Beyond that, in 2022, December 2022, another huge noise was made around 1.4 billion naira being invested in Safe School Initiative in Nigeria. Where has the money gone to? Was it disbursed? Who was paid for it? And why are children still in unsafe environments in institutions of learning? This is very sad, Oji, because the children are as young as 8 years old.
Yes, that's
their only crime is that they went to school and they're in pursuit of education.
Yes.
Especially in the north, we have a massive out-of-school children challenge. And yet, when we hear things like this, what is the incentive for parents to send their children to school? Parents would rather have their child alive than going to school and being kidnapped without, I mean, hopefully, though, what we're hoping for is that the government would keep to their promise of bringing back the children. And so these are some of the things that we're facing. Beyond that, Senate President AKPABIO's statement is actually an indication of why we still have these issues being persistent.
Yes.
A lack of, will I say, political will or seriousness to address the insecurity challenges that we have. when we keep telling ourselves untruths that, oh, things are better, then we will not take the situation as seriously as we ought to do it. I wonder what, I would love to hear what he has to say about this. Is this another aberration? The reason why this has also persisted is the fact that where are the consequences?
Yes.
Where are the sanctions? Chibok happened in Borno State. Dapchi happened in Yobe State. Now we have this in Kaduna State. What will happen? We'll make a huge, there'll be headlines around this. Where are the arrests? What are the deterrents? So it's just like, oh, we'll do. Then 200 children being captured.
Certainly
where were the security agents? On this? So
they?
it's really sad.
Absolutely.
And I don't think this administration has demonstrated enough seriousness to see that they want to tackle this insecurity challenge, especially kidnapping, banditry, and terrorism in some parts of the state. It's very sad.
My people, I hope you guys had everything they said here. Like, this is a very, very worrisome situation. Just like Aisha Yusuf always said that, like, everyone is a victim in Nigeria, because tomorrow you don't know whether is it going to be your turn. This is so worrisome, and our so-called security agents, they are on the road collecting bribe and money, while the bandits are trying to take over Nigeria. Who knows how many bandits were involved in this operation for you to know that, hey, they are almost taking over Nigeria, and our leaders are doing absolutely nothing. And we don't even know who is going to be next tomorrow. My people, that is wahala. I say make I bring this update. Please, if today is your first time, don't forget to subscribe for more updates. Like this video, share it as well. I will see you guys in my next one. Goodbye for now.